Now let's look at data types in Python. I hope you know the concept of what a data type is in programming. If you don't know, basically data type specifies what kind of value is stored in a variable. So if there's integer type of value, there's integer data type, floating point, that has a decimal point, right? So there are three main data types in Python: integers, floating point, and strings. Now let's see integers. Now the best feature of Python, or why it is called statistically best language, is because there are no constraints on how long of an integer you take for calculations. Now I'm going to show you an example. There's this a variable and I'm storing 1 plus some so long number and I'm printing it, and this computation occurs. You can see the last digit was 8 and we have added 1, it became 9. And let's check the length of this number we printed. Okay, so this is 325, and you can see Python can do such huge computations and it didn't even take a lot of time for you, right? Even if we call Python like most time consuming language, but the reason why Python is called as the best language or is used in data science statistics is because of these small features. Okay, now let's move on to also I want you to find if there are any constraints on these calculations. If there are, what's the max amount of digits you can put into an integer value. And you can see you don't have to specify some kind of data type. There's long integer, or use some kind of macro or something, right? It's just so easy. Let's move on to next thing. So to specify a binary number in Python, you just have to use 0b and write the binary number you want. So I have specified over here 100. So 100 is equal to 4 in decimal, and you get it. Let's try something else. Let's see, 101, that's, what is it, 5. Yeah, so you get it. You can look out for more numbers or stuff, and you can see even this thing doesn't have a huge constraint. A constraint, you can say. Try to find out if there's a constraint to these computations and let me know. Now the next thing is octal. So all you have to do is 0 and you'll get octal value. Then there's hex as well, you have to use 0x. Okay, so you get the hexadecimal value as well. Now next data type is floating point value. Now as we have seen, there is no kind of constraint for integer values, but what about floating point values? Let's see. Okay, this executed right. Now let's see type of x. So type function is basically used to specify or it returns the type of the value, or the type of the variable you pass in the function. Okay, so this is floating point type. Also we use the e notation in Python. So what is 4e minus 1? So 4 into 10 raised to minus 1. E minus 1 means 10 raised to whatever the exponent is. So it's really easy, just specify the base, e in between, and then exponent. So that's done for you. Now let's test something more. We have created a variable x. Let's try to do something like this. Okay, so we can see it's computing, but if you go over certain limit, even in floating point types, if you have this there are many decimal points after one, what will be the value? Will it give you an error, or will it compute it to certain precision level? I want you to find out. Now there is also a really good feature of specifying complex numbers directly. You don't have to create a class for that as in C++. There's no necessity of using this object oriented knowledge in Python until unless you have really important in things, and we will see that further, of course. So let's see if complex numbers are represented by certain real value plus certain imaginary value, and just specify j after that. Done. And you have created a complex number. So this is a complex value in Python. So you can see even the data type of this value is complex, and you can perform everything with complex numbers: addition, multiplication. See for yourself how this multiplication proceeds, right, as in complex numbers. Now let's move on to strings. So what are strings? Basically a bunch of characters, a sentence, anything. So strings are just, you can say, sentences. Let's see. So this is a string. This is all you need to know about strings, because we are not actually like going to go to use it a lot in data science foundations. So that's why I'm not going in depth. If you have any excitement for the language, you can go read the documentation, try out new things related to strings. And yes, so to in string, there's whenever you have to specify a string, you can use double quotation marks or a single quotation marks. Both can work, but you shouldn't use same type of quotation mark inside as in the string value. So still Python helps you do that too, by just specifying a simple operator before specifying that quotation mark, and you can still see the result, right? Also there's everything you can do with strings as you can do in the C or any other programming language. There's a len feature. So let's say Yalgaar club. So you will get the length of this string, particular string: 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 and 12. Okay, next thing is you can also concatenate the strings. So there's sine plus theta, you get sine theta, right? These are some concatenation features. Or you can even compare strings like dkte is equal to dkte in small case. Does it work? Oh, it didn't false, right? And there are few other features like dkte dot upper. So what is an upper method? Basically it returns you the string in capital form. So you can see over here. Similarly, you can use lower and you get the lower form of the string. So this is all you need to know about strings as a data structure even, although we'll kind of discuss a bit more later on, but you don't actually need the strings features as in data science foundations to a higher level. Okay, and as we have seen, we printed a value, so that was output, right? In other programming languages you call it output. So how IO works in Python is, let's see, this is how you input a value. So you just have to specify the input function here. There's round brackets. Specify if you have to also output something before inputting a value, so you don't have to always go like print enter a string and just keep it like input. No, while inputting you can always print some string irrespective of how long it is, unlike other programming languages, and you enter a string and you get the result as http. For output we use print, as we have seen through all this video. So let's print. Now one of the most important features is formatted output. What it is, in other programming languages, whenever you have to specify certain variable in form of a string, even if you are to return it or print it in form of a string, you have to typecast it, right, to string form. But in Python programming you have two important formatting methods. All you have to do is write strings, and wherever your variable is there, you just have to specify the curly brackets again over here, and dot format, specify the variables inside the round bracket. So dot format is the method for printing something, and you can do the same thing as in modified Python. It has arrived after, I guess, 3.6 or 3.7 version. There's this f method, wherein you just have to specify f before the string, write the string out, and inside the string you have to specify the curly brackets. Inside curly brackets you have to specify the variable name, and you are done. But you might have a question that we can do the same thing as in printf or so while outputting a value. But for your kind of information, this is not something you can do only with print statement in Python. Even while returning a string, you can specify just this thing. Let's say def p, and sorry, let's pass in a and b as variable. I'll kind of explain how functions work later on. For now, just see that the string can be returned in Python by using formatting. So if I pass in p a comma b, you can see here the string is directly written. This does not happen in other core programming languages like C or C++. It may be the case there's the C++ 14 onwards or something, but if you consider C programming, you won't get this easily while returning a string. So this is really easy in Python, even when you consider with comparison to other programming languages. And Also, to specify the floating point values, just have to certain precision level. For example, I want 0.2 precision. So y is some variable I've stored this value in, and I want to print it in just with just 2 precision level, and you can see 2.35. Okay, so this is really easy. But what about when you return a value with precision? So for that, Python also has a round function. So let's see, print round and some value 4.75918, and you have to just specify the precision level you want. So I'll specify 2, and you can see it will round off the value to 4.76 directly. You don't actually, if you see this, it didn't round off the value, did it? Okay, yes. So in Python programming, it does round off as soon as you write %.2f, and so does with round function. But why is it that this is easier? Is because you just simply have to specify this value, you have to specify the precision level, and also besides you can return this value directly, while this the format method in printing for the floating point or other values, this only works while printing or putting the value, not while returning. Okay, now let's see what are variables. So I hope you all know what variable is. It's basically a storage unit. You can read here. If you're familiar with programming, you know what a variable is. Why? Because this statement is stored in your brain's certain variable, right? Do you understand? So certain memory stores your value, and we'll just try some basic code here. So we have created a variable equal to 5. You can see type, you can see type of floating point variable, and there is this string type of variable already seen as data types, right? Now assigning values to multiple variables is one of the best features of Python, which many people don't realize as soon as they start working with Python. But this is the easiest way to assign values to multiple variables. So you just have to specify the respective variables, and use the assignment operator and specify the values in the respective order of of how you specified the variables, right? So you can see here, and yeah, gain knowledge and don't stress on marks more than limit. Okay, go for more knowledge. Multiple assignment. So as in other programming languages, multiple assignment works with Python too. You can see A, B, C all have 9.0 as value. And then there's also type conversion or typecasting, as in write words. So we can also typecast values. So this is integer, we typecasted it by just specifying the type of variable we want, use the round bracket, and use the variable or constant value we want typecasted. And you can do the same by typecasting a floating point value to integer. Okay. And we already used this feature or this function rounding. So if we round off 7.99, it will become 8. Then you can also typecast a number to string, and you can even uh, concatenate strings, right? I hope you understand over here. Now there's odd function ord, which is used to convert a character to integer. So odd of 9 is 57. So to specify the integer value of 57, we use a character as 9. Okay. Now you can of course use the hexadecimal function to convert any value to hex. Then there's octal as well, and as we all know, there are ASCII values supported. If you know programming well, of course you have played with ASCII values. So ASCII value of 82 is R, and there's hashtag of 35, and so this is the end of this lecture, and I hope you all understood what I have taught you till now. These are some basics, and I'll go through some Python basics for next 2 more lectures, and after that we'll move on to data science foundations for the libraries NumPy, Pandas, and this Matplotlib, Seaborn. So these are few libraries we'll be discussing later on, and thank you for holding on to this training program, and I wish you luck for understanding knowledge. So if you have any doubts, those who have registered for this program can ask their doubts anytime, and they'll get the response in least time, I would say. Thank you all.